Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar World Champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome as you join us for the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship here, live and exclusive on Apex Racing TV. The championship returns for round 6 to Francorchamps. It's one of the classic race circuits beloved by drivers and spectators alike, where today the true essence of speed can be explored in spectacular style on a safe and modern facility. However, it hasn't always quite been like this. In its original incarnation, Spa was a circuit truly feared, as it posed both dangers like no other. Fast straights, sweeping corners and unprecedented weather could combine to create a lethal combination, and sadly, all too often did. However, due to the beauty of sim racing, we don't have to worry about any fatalities, just great racing that we'll see out on track. I'm Tim Cox, and behind the scenes in the production booth we have Alex Simpson, but right now, as always, I'm joined by DJ Clark. DJ, Barber Motorsport Park last time out was the scene of a rather peaceful race one. I think it's a good way to describe it. However, race 2 was the scene of a lot of drama, especially down at turn 2. And for our championship leaders in Christiansen and Goddestad for RPC Esports. However, it wasn't all bad for RPC because we saw for the first time a driver claim victory in both races at one event, which is something that hasn't been done in either pro or AM categories. And Strom, of course, he was the driver taking both the victories in the pro category.
He was indeed a great day out for him, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that here at Spa, we're going to have a little bit of a change in order. Barber, obviously very difficult to overtake on. We talked about some of those difficulties over the course of the race. Spa going down the Camel Straight, coming down into the bus stop, plenty of areas to overtake. And in that middle sector of the track, plenty of areas to get it wrong as well. In these Porsche Cup cars, remember, no traction control, no ABS, corners like Pujol going to be very, very difficult to get right and get absolutely perfect. I think we are in for a cracking battle here today.
Definitely Spa circuit fame for plenty of great overtakes over the years, and I'm certain we'll be in for that here today in the championship. And just we've got qualifying just getting underway out on track, and this series is sponsored by 3 different sponsors. First up, we've got Virtual Racing School. If you're looking to improve your on-track performance with 50+ data packs for road and oval racing, they have setups, track guides, data analysis software, and one-on-one coaching. Then we've got SDK Gaming. If you're looking to add a live virtual HUD to iRacing to show timing towers in half relative boxes, mini-maps, and fuel calculators, it's a go-to piece of software. You can also use it to broadcast your leagues, like we do for all of our streams here at Apex Racing TV. And also, you can use it to adjust your team strategy on the fly, thanks to its fuel calculators and its most accurate live timing on iRacing. And then finally, we've got Apex Racing Academy. They have 29 data packs, setups, track guides, integration with one of our other sponsors, Virtual Racing School, weekly group coaching sessions, and much, much more. We have to wait a little bit for the first flying laps to be put in. Of course, at Spa, the longer circuits that we'll be visiting in the championship and the whole of road racing. Some 4.3 miles, that's 7 kilometers. What the circuit stands at, that's since 2007 when this last change was made to the circuit, which was the change to the famed bus stop chicane at the end of the lap. Now it just makes up a single chicane, less of a bus stop these days, and we see the drivers just heading out. And wait, DJ, I can see the field quite tightly compact, and the 3 RPC drivers there all in line stern fashion. I mean, just how crucial is that draft going to be, especially, I'd imagine, in the opening stages of the lap?
Oh, it's absolutely mega. And these RPC Esports drivers, they have the gaps just about perfect. They're able to pick up just enough of a whiff on the draft going down the Camel Straight to really boost those lap times, but you don't want to be running nose astern through this middle part of the lap, the run down the hill, really going all the way down here into Stavlo. And then once they pick up speed again, this is where that draft is going to come into play again. Blanchiment, even in these cars, going to be flat out, and you want to get as much slipstream as you can. So very, very heads up here from these drivers.
Definitely. It's going to be interesting to see how they get on this. It's just coming around to close up the lap into the big break areas. This is the section of the track I was just mentioning about getting changed since 2007, where the famous bus stop used to be. It's now just the, well, still named bus stop chicane, but it's just more of a chicane these days. And it's quite tricky, I've sort of found, DJ, but as you exit the chicane, just getting the power down, it can make the rear end quite squirrely, where you sort of, the track rises up very shortly, and then, of course, you've got the AstroTurf, which is a little bit slippery on exit.
Yeah, it's a very difficult chicane because it's a little bit longer than you would expect of a normal chicane. You've got to kind of give a little bit of a squirt on the throttle to get yourself into the left-hander. And then, as you said, as the track rises up, very easy to spin those rear tires, especially in these Porsche Cup cars. Rear engine, rear-wheel drive, a lot of torque coming through the back end of the car. And so you've got to really kind of feather the throttle on there. You need to get on as soon as possible to get a good run down into La Source, but at the same time, you can't run that risk. It's very, very tricky to get right, as we see Cope there being very, very aggressive.
As it comes down into Bruxelles there. Another really tricky part of the circuit, but because you mentioned about the bus chicane seemed to go on forever. That's another corner that seems to be, and it's so easy to get on the power just that bit too early and not be quite patient enough.
Yeah, patience is a huge key around here, around Spa. Understeer is the real danger through some of these corners. They flow very naturally together, and if you just kind of let the car coast through them, you can see how they go. But if you get onto the power too early, especially here through Fagnes as well, you can really feel the car drift out wide. Going through Bruxelles, it is so easy to run wide. That corner is a lot more narrow on exit than you think it is, and it's a full 180 degrees. So it's just all about patience with that right foot.
The drive to around about 3/4 of the way around the circuit, just around Blanchimont right now. This fast swooping double left-hander there is 17 and 18. Oh, they're going to throw out the anchor down into the bus stop. Let's see what sort of times the drivers start to set. They're not going to have many opportunities with just over a 2-minute lap time here at Spa. Many opportunities if you get it wrong, and you can see early on there Christensen setting the pace with a 2:17 right now, and nearly a whole second clear of Mokes occupying that second place. Well, there's Strom just slotting it in, and Rodestad immediately replied to get himself up onto the front row. These 3 RPC cars, the Norwegians, only 3 tenths separating them. Could be locking out those top 3 positions right now in qualifying. Just looking at it, a few drivers suffering from off tracks out on circuit. See Dominic Forster head up into what was 11th of team for Martin Jensen. The Scandinavian drivers heads up into 9th place. Second of the AM drivers, Tom Mayotte, currently occupying 8th place. But he will be starting 1 row in front. Will be Mayotte compared to Jensen as things stand at the moment. But let's see, Parmalee, Dilcock, Kafenchu, all suffering from off tracks on this opening lap.
Yeah, and off-track's very easy to pick up here around Spa. Now, iRacing has done a little bit of work. It's not nearly as fearsome as it used to be, say, about a year ago, but very, very easy because of that understeer that we talked about, to just let the car run wide and pick up the off-tracks that way. This isn't a track where you're necessarily going to be cutting the course. It's more where your momentum is going to take you too far to the outside, and if you get all 4 tires off of the curbing and onto the AstroTurf, that's where iRacing is going to give you that off-track warning and invalidate your lap.
Just drivers just heading round to Blanchimont right now. The fastest parts of the circuit, the drivers reaching around about 250 kilometers an hour through here. So even topping out at 255, before they have to lift slightly just to get the car settled through that second left-hander there of Blanchimont, and down to one of the, well, probably the second slowest part of the circuit. Of course, La Source turn 1 being the slowest part, and see how the drivers get on, utilising the endurance part of the hit lane, and so far no one just waiting to come through La Source right now. Here's Scott Mokes, currently on the 2nd row of the grid, and This is going to be it for the qualifying. Only 2 flying laps with such a lengthy lap time, and of course those out laps as well. See how Mokes gets on, and it's no improvement for him. He goes around about half a second slower. Here's Dominic Forster currently down in 12th. The lowest of the pro drivers do set a time. Berg and Gavenchu yet to set times, and let's see what Forster manages. Well, there you go. There's an improvement from him. Heads up. 8th in pro, 9th on the grid, and that's brought qualifying to an end here. Be able to bring you up your grid very, very shortly. We head across to race 1. Of course, 2 25-minute races for today as always. And Christensen on pole with his teammate Goddestad alongside company. Second row is made up of Strom and Scott Mokes. Josiah and Cope make up another all-pro row for row 3. James Parker as first of the AM drivers. Tom Mine not for company. And then it's Forster and Jensen with Kundlis and Wadsworth on the 6th row of the grid. And just moving through, we've then got Merchant and Palmer Lee, first all-AM row in 13th or 14th. Lacine didn't set a time, neither did the rest of the field. Gavenchu is sharing that row of the grid with him with Silcock and Sparlek on the 17th and 18th. And Matthias Berg is going to round out your field here at Spa for race 1. Of course, for race 2, we take the race results to form the grid from race 1. However, the top 8 are inverted. So the driver finishing in 8th place, they will start on pole. I'm just waiting for the drivers to take to the grid, and then we'll head off for 25 minutes of thrills, spills, action and drama. And I think this could be quite an interesting one because race 2 tends to get a little bit more feisty, doesn't it, DJ? And it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers handle race 1 because it's normally a bit more of a serene affair like we saw last time out at Barber.
Yeah, race 1 tends to be a little bit more of a setup for that second race. Drivers wanting to make sure they're in the best position possible and not completely ruin their chances in race 2. So it'll be interesting to see what they do here.
Be indeed, just waiting on a couple of drivers to take to the grid, and then we will be off. Clocking down, and it's currently around about 20 to 5 p.m. here in Belgium. Track temperature, a relatively cool 22 degrees. That's going to cool down as the race goes on, but here come the lights, and let's get ready to go racing in race 1 in the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Series. We are away, and on the inside they've got to start not getting the strongest to start, and Strom really pushing along. As the 2 RPC drivers are going to go side by side as Strom and Goddestad up the hill, but here comes Mokes. He wants a piece of the action, holding on around the outside. Everyone looks like they've got away cleanly as we head along the Camel Straight for the first time, and Mokes, he's pulling right alongside Goddestad, who's got the poor start from the first row of the grid and has dropped down to 3rd. Strom got a absolutely blistering start there, but Goddestad just holding off Mokes into Lacombe. As they come now out of Lacombe, that makes it 7 and 8 and 9, that section down to Bruxelles. And well, you can see Goddestad already trying to defend that position from Scott Mokes early on. I tell you, he's looking quite vulnerable at the moment from the British driver.
Yeah, he certainly is. Scott Mokes certainly looking very, very quick here. Strom and Christensen starting to gap a little bit on Goddestad. Goddestad just needs to gather everything back under him. Remember that he's got 2 teammates ahead of him, but Scott Mokes here on the attack. He's got to be careful, though. Remember, Thomas Cope behind him has been on a hot streak, and I would not count out that 164 car.
So now come through campus. Exit out then, run down to Stabilo. Everyone just tucking up behind, just waiting for this section where they can really open out the taps and utilize that slipstream using all the track and a bit more of the few of the drivers willing to take one of their off tracks, of course, not worrying like in qualifying like you have to do where your time will be deleted. And drivers just heading through now, and for once Mokes has just dropped a little bit back. Ran about half a second now before that trio of RPC cars who are coming down into the bus stop. Remaining line astern and just looking in the background, nobody making any other moves. But I tell you what, Mokes has really caught up during that section. But Strom getting a blistering run out there, going to look for a move around the outside, just backs out of it into La Source. you see they're just waiting, just playing the waiting game, and almost a bit of a twitch there from Strom on the exit out of La Source. That might just give Christensen the bit of breathing space that he needs over his teammate as they head up the hill.
And crucially here for these RPC Esports drivers, they've been able to pull a gap here of about 0.4 of a second back to Scott Mokes. Now the big draft here down the Kemmel Straight is going to come into play, and Cope looking like he may be on a little bit of an attack here. I think the RPC drivers are going to do a little bit of formation flying. No, that's going to be Gotterstad taking a look down to the inside of Strom, but he's going to back out of it.
Does indeed. You see Strom there just really running it a bit too deep, and having to correct his line. That's really bunched the pack up behind, but it looks like Mokes, he's got to slow down. He's having to burn off, and that's cost him dearly. He's gone from 4th, he's all the way down to the 11th, and nearly at the back of Pro. Oh, well, this has been going on. Some might not in AM. He's currently leading that. He's in 7th overall. The next closest AM driver is Jensen, who's all the way down in 12th place. A great start for Minot, and exactly what he would have wanted. We ride on board with Minot right now as he head through Puon. Wow, he couldn't have played out any better for the Brits in these opening laps.
No, it could not. He's got plenty of breathing room to all of those AM drivers behind, and I think in particular he's very happy that Lacine not able to set a qualifying time. Lacine was quick during practice, but just picked up a little too many of those off tracks, and that's put him all the way down in 16th, so this is playing perfectly into the hands of Minot.
See Parker just quite hitting the apex there. This could give Minot a bit of a chance to really hook up onto the back of his fellow countryman as they come on the run up to Blanchimont now. This tight, fast left-hander. The car just wants to drift wide out to the right-hand side and off the track there. Now down on the brakes into the bus stop chicane. You see once again Parker just runs it in a bit deep there, but just up ahead you can see Cope and Josiah really having a good old go at one another. Cope trying to find his way past Josiah. Down into La Source and just waiting once more as Cope just, wow, he's lost, if anything, it looks like he's lost a bit of time actually to Josiah. And Parker now is close right up onto the back of him. He's going to be right into slipstream territory down the Kemmel Straight.
Indeed he is. He's just got to make sure he gets through Eau Rouge and Radillon just right. Looks like he does. Cope maybe running with a little bit less downforce here. Look at the way he's starting to streak away. Who's that down to the inside?
I think that may well be Cope. As we see right now the replay, this is what happened to Josiah. Wow, actually it was Cope. He must have had to slow down early on then because he got a really poor exit. And that's what allowed Josiah through. But looking at our timing software, SDK Gaming, and Thomas Cope has fallen right down through the order. I think, I mean, well, you said that he thought he took Eau Rouge and Radillon just about right. I wasn't too sure whether he cut it a bit too fine, and let's take a little look from above from the helicopter angle. We look down on them now. And let's take a look. Did he take too much of that? Yes, he did. There you go. And now we're going to see him dropped like a stone through the order.
And that is so easy to do coming up over the crest of the hill. You're pushing so hard, you're focused ahead, and you just cut that corner ever so slightly. And yeah, that's going to drop Cope all the way down into 11th place behind Scott Mokes. And he's got now Matthias Burke all the way behind him. But we focus back in on these RPC Esports drivers up ahead. With all of the calamity happening to the drivers behind, they are just able to streak away into the distance.
Are indeed 1.2 seconds covering our top three. Got to start just dropping off a little bit from our lead two with Christensen and Strom. See these two, and Strom definitely looking like he's got a little bit pace in the bank compared to Christensen right now. And we've seen him make a few, slight lunges and a bit of a look, but just then backing out of it. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do when they head up the hill and down the Kemmel Straight. Of course, Lascelles to negotiate first of all. Really, really tight right-hander. Be so careful on the exit. But as you see, Gafenchu here having to defend. That's from Kundalis. But Scott Mokes trying to make a bit of progress after that earlier slowdown cost him so dearly. Gafenchu now taking a slightly different line there, a bit wider, just trying to So in the background, there's Scott Mokes. No, you're not coming past here, Sonny Jim. They come across the top of the hill through Radion. And now it's all about the slipstream down the Camel Straight. And you can see, wow, the big defend from Forster there. Has he done enough into Lacombe? Wow, I'm not too sure about this one, DJ. No, he's just lost out there.
Yeah, that's a good defense there from Gavenchu, just shutting the door right at the point, going down into Lacombe. But it looks like the 123 trying to fight back a little bit there. Forster thought about the move down into Brussels, but not going to go for it here.
It's ahead through now, down to No Name. It's a bit of another one of the many tricky corners here at Spa. Car just wants to run wide. It's an off-camber corner and then down into the poo on this double left-hander. Makes up what's classed as turn 12, although effectively is 2 corners. And now it's all about just remaining close. So you see it in the background there, Cope right alongside Burke, and those two squabbling over 10th in class, 11th overall, and Cope just runs in it a bit too deep. And what can Burke do? He's pulled his car right alongside. He's going to have the inside line, but Cope just holds on once more. They're practically holding hands there as they come through Stavilo, and they're still side by side. And Cope just pushed wide, and that's not going to kill off his momentum. He's carrying all that extra speed from that outside line, and now he's going to have the inside through Bonchemont.
And that's got to be able to help him there. He's going to try to hold it out, and there goes Cope up on and through. Good move there for the 164, but it's not over yet. Looking for a little bit of a fight back here.
Just about holds on there, and he's going to get ahead is Cope through the bus stop chicane. However, it's not necessarily the place you want to be, as we see in the foreground here. Forster right in a battle with Scott Mokes, and Mokes heads up the inside into La Source. However, like with Cope and Burke right behind them, it can sometimes play into their hands to be the car behind, because you're going to get all that lovely slipstream, that lovely draft as you head up the hill through Eau Rouge and Radion, and then down the Camel Straight, and you can mount an attack into Lacombe, or quite possibly even get ahead into it. And we're right on board with Dominic Forster right now, the Romanian, in 10th place, 9th in class, and he is looking like he's a bit too far back from Scott Mokes to get any sort of move done. It's Burke and Cope right behind, and they're side by side once more as they enter into Lacombe, and bit of contact there, and Burke just forces the move and gets ahead finally of Cope.
And Matthias Burke getting his elbows out there and not taking no for an answer to get on by Cope. And Cope, remember, looking so strong early on, but that double slowdown penalty putting him down. Whoa!
Nearly losing it there does Thomas Cope, and wow, just about managed to keep hold of things, but it's cost him a whole heap of time. He's now dropped to a second behind Matthias Burke. As we now look at further towards the front of the field, James Parker right now 5th overall and in class in pro right now. However, he's got Gavenchu not too far behind, only 6 tenths, and Tom might not. Well, he's not too far behind either, around about a second. Behind Gavenchu is the Brit right now, and that starts off another bit of a train. We've got Cunliffe, Mokes, Forster, and Burke. Well, if you expect, if these guys start battling, he'll join in the fight as well. It's now all about what James Parker can do. Can he hold on? We're just not far off at 12 minutes completed here, and nearly half a race distance in race 1. Just coming up to 5 laps completed. Your order for now is Strom from Christensen, Goddestad in 3rd, Dracia in 4th, Parker at the moment in 5th, Gavenchu right on his tail in 6th, Tom White not 7th overall, leading in now with Cunliffe, Mokes and Forster rounding out your top 10. But right now, Gavenchu is all over the back of Parker as they come down, and there's contact! There's contact! James Parker sent spinning at La Source, and that's going to cost him dearly. He's going to drop right through the Auster. He's lost places to Gavenchu, Minot, Cunliffe, Forster, Burke, and oh, there's another car off there as well. I didn't quite catch who that was.
It's Mokes. That's Scott Mokes.
Oh, it's gone from bad to worse for Scott Mokes after those slowdowns, trying to pick his way back through the field. And now a spin at La Source. Now this is looking back from Parker. We've got Gavenchu right behind this. And there you go, there's the contact that sent him spinning around. Well held by Parker, to be fair, to keep it out the wall there.
Yeah, indeed. Very tricky to do when you're fully on the binders there. And then this is Mokes' incident. I'm not sure if there was contact or if he maybe just spun those rear tires coming around the source.
Oh, no. You see another, well, as he lit at the rear tires to get going once more. That's Forster right behind us. Oh, he's lost it all by himself.
Yeah, he just tried to get the power down on those exit curbs there, and you've got to be a little bit careful. You can take some of them, but if you're fully off to the side of the track on the left side coming out of that corner, it can really catch you out. Marbles do start to build up on the outside of there, and that in combination with being on the rumble strips on the curbing, there's just not enough traction for those rear tires to grip, and they will spin up.
Oh, while that's been going on, Strom has managed to get past Christensen for the lead. And actually, Christensen's dropped a bit off the back of Strom. 7 tenths between those two, and Godestad is now up onto the back of Christensen. And that's going to be interesting to see how those two handle this one as the race continues on. Let's take a little look on the replay of exactly how we got the move done here, DJ.
Looks like a pretty straightforward draft pass going down the Camel straight. Indeed, just pokes his nose to the inside, knows he's got to be later on the binders. I think that was a little bit of a teammate assist there. The 171 of Christensen not wanting to fight his teammate too hard.
Definitely looks that way indeed. The RPC drivers, as always, seem to be working together to definitely pulling clear of Dandrasia, currently occupying that 4th place right now. So around about 3.8 seconds clear of him on this lead group of 3. And then we've got another gap of around about 3.5 seconds between Drasia and Gavenci, the 2 Romanians. Their fellow countryman Forster, he's all the way down in 10th. We've got a battle on here in between Silcock and Palmer Lee. This is a brave move to go side by side through this section of the circuit, and Palmer Lee knows it, he backs out of it. But Silcock, he's going to get the slowdown from that one. And Palmer Lee picks at the place there by just forcing the error from Mark Silcock.
And sometimes that's exactly how you've got to play into the mind games here around Spa. You know, if you can force the driver to go a little bit too hard, they'll pick up those off tracks, and that's exactly what happened there to Mark Silcock.
Now he's got Sparlik right behind him, the German. Currently, these two in 5th and 6th in class, 15th and 16th overall. Still not all lost, both up 2 places. You're currently your highest riser in terms of place gains. Here's Burke in 8th place. He's up 11, but, well, Silcock, he's really fighting hard out of no name here to hold on to this position. And Sparlek just looking very much like the aggressor, but they've got Scott Mokes, well, on yet another recovery. I mean, down in 17th, but certainly not out. And trying to clear these two as quick as possible, but it's going to be a challenge with them battling so hard.
Yeah, it's going to be very tricky for Mokes to try to get by. Doing a 2-wide pass here, even at such a wide and open circuit like Spa, can get very difficult. But here, I think what he's got to focus on is just Spalek ahead of him.
That's Palmer Lee. That's Palmer Lee's gone spinning. I've lost it all by himself there on the exit. I think got a bit too much on the loud pedal too early, but while that's going on, Mokes is now on the attack. This is playing right into Silcock's hands. And he's absolutely all over the rear end of Sparlek right now. He looks to the outside. Sparlek defends to the inside line. And oh, there's contact there. And, well, Smokes gets through. He misses the action. I mean, it looked like to me like Silcock just lost it all by himself potentially there.
I think he kind of did. Here is that incident back with Dan Parmalee, and yep, you're exactly right. Just a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too much steering lock while he was applying the pressure going down through Stabilo there. Very easy to do at that portion of the track, and then here is that incident with Silcock.
Let's take a little look as they enter into the bus stop chicane. Oh no, it was contact. I thought he lost it by himself, but it definitely wasn't. There's contact from Sparlek from behind that sent Silcock spinning. those two end up swapping places in that battle for 4th place of AM. Noakes makes his way through there, just avoiding the incidents and the spins that were happening in front of him. So up into 14th for him, but still the bottom of the pile in Pro right now. Down in 11th, and he's got a long way to go and not a lot of time left on the clock if he wants to try and get up into 8th place. That would be ideal for him, or I mean, potentially even 9th, DJ, and just try and follow through the likes of Strom, Christensen and Goddestad to get to the front of the pack in race 2.
Exactly. Remember, we do have that invert that comes in, so he wants to try to be in that position. We've seen the speed out of that machine. If he can get up here to Burke, that will be ideal. But Burke is going to be locked in a battle here with Minot in that 225, and that could be just the recipe here that Thomas Cope needs to be able to catch back up on the back of this 3-car field.
So Cunliffe at the front of these as they go side by side. Minot and Burke. This is a bit dicey. The leader in AM is Minot. Berg, currently 7th in Pro, up 11 places as he goes for a 12th place. So he's made up out on track and just can't quite do it into the bus stop there. I'm sure he'll be fighting back into Lacombe after using all that slipstream. But tell you what, look who's right behind him. It's Thomas Cope. Despite those incidents early on, he's picked himself up and started to come back through the field. 9th overall right now, and 1 place off that pole position in for race 2. If he gets into 8th, but wow, these three, they're just metronomic out front. Just the way they just keep putting in the laps, and it's just relentless from the 3 of them.
Yeah, we saw D'Andresia try to catch in a little bit earlier. Gavenchu, Kundalis, all of these guys having their time to try to catch the RPC Esports drivers, and absolutely nothing to be had. They know exactly what they're doing, and we're not even seeing a little bit of a game of leapfrog on the straightaways here. They just know exactly how to be formation flying here. It is near poetry in motion.
It is indeed, and just looking back through my sort of notes, DJ, I believe that this will only be, amazingly, despite the dominance that we've seen from RPC so far this season, this will only be the 4th time that we've had all 3 RPC drivers on the podium in a race.
That is remarkable to me. I could have sworn that we've had at least 8 or 9 of them the way we've seen them. But, I mean, I guess you just had those one little incidents that will catch out some of these drivers over the course of the season. But it really has been RPC Esports season to have, and everybody else is just running around.
Nice. Just Strom can hold on. This will be his 4th victory of the season. Of course, the double win last time out at Barber, and then winning race 1 at round 1 in Bathurst. Long waits for a win until Barber, some four rounds later. Looking to carry on that fine vein of form is Kim Anderstrom right now. And he's got around about 4.5 minutes left here in race 1. That's going to give them around about 2 more laps as they come around La Source. But it's all happening down in the midfield. This is where the battles are happening. As we've got Kundlis, Burke, Minot and Cope, all not far away from one another. And Burke is, wow, so close into La Source. And it's going to be interesting to see how these guys all shuffle themselves out. I mean, also, we've hardly mentioned him this race. You see him just in the background there in the blue livery Porsche Cup car is Lacine, the Belgium driver, 2nd in 10th overall. He's made it 5 places so far, but here comes Burke on the attack against Kundlis. They're going to go side by side down the Kettle Straight. Who's going to get to Lacombe first? Well, it's going to be Burke. He gets the move done before they've even reached the braking zone.
Good move there from Burke to just be able to get that overspeed coming off the top of Radion. Absolutely incredible stuff. And they've got to watch out here. Minot behind may not be done with this yet. He may have something to say to Kundalis.
May well indeed. Still plenty of opportunity from the number of quarters and time left in this race. But these 3, well, 5 potentially to shuffle themselves around once more. But Burke will be looking to really get the hammer down through this section of the track and start to pull away from Kunlis the best that he can. That gap already out to half a second, but I think he needs about another quarter to a half a second to really cement this place right now in 6th.
Yeah, he really wants to try to pull away a little bit here if he can, and this is the portion of the track where he can do it. This is where it's all really down to the driver ability. It's not too much about the draft. Minot here, though, trying to hold off Thomas Cope. Remember, we said he wants to get into that 8th place to the best of his ability if he can, and he is certainly close enough. If he's able to keep it close here through Blanchimont, he may be able to have a run going down into the bus stop.
Let's find out what happens. And this will be interesting as well, because if Cope can make his way past Minot, that means that Lacine then is only going to be directly behind our leader in Am, who's looked home and dry for a lot of the race, but he runs in a bit too deep. Could Cope capitalize? No, he can't. Minot just covers it off back there on the switchback. Cope just almost loses it with the oversteer on the exit out of the bus stop, and now Lacine is tucked up right underneath that rear wing of Thomas Cope as they come down into La Source, and Minot may well have just about got away with that one as they head down the hill now.
Got very, very lucky with that, I think, did Minot. White flag in the air, and here we've got a little bit of move for the lead. Here comes Christensen.
He's going to be on the outside. Can he get the move done? He's holding on for dear life right now. Strom still side by side as they come through Lacombe. They're still side by side, but look at Godestad. He wants a bit of the action as well as they now come down into Bruxelles. They're still holding on. No, he's running too deep. Strom's run too deep, and he's out into the gravel, and he's gone from 1st to 3rd in the blink of an eye.
Oh, my goodness. Strom just getting it wrong there and looking a little bit squirrely coming through No Name as well, as now they pilot their way down into Pujon. Only a couple of more corners here for Godderstad if he wants to be able to get the move, but it looks like he had a little bit of a tighter entry into Pujon. He may be a little bit far back to take the challenge to Christensen, but he is not going to give it easy.
He's not indeed, and he's running fast out of time. He's only got about another 5 corners left on the circuit. Right now, as they come around Stavelot, Godestad needs to get the best possible exit out of here to ensure that he's in prime position onto the bricks, into the bus stop chicane. But has Christensen done enough? The gap is at 3/10 of a second. You see on the timing tower on the top left, that time is visibly coming down. Here comes Godestad, just lifting slightly there into Blanchimont. Is he going to be too far back? I think he may well be, and Christensen might just hold on to this as they come into the bus stop. He's just about got it done. They've only got Les Source left to go. Of course, we're using the endurance start-finish line here down the hill. They come back to the normal traditional F1 start-finish line. And Christensen, if he can just get this right, he'll be okay. And he's got that done. And Christensen is going to claim victory in race 1 here at Spa-Francorchamps. Godestad in 2nd, Strom in 3rd. He'll be disappointed by that one. As we see in the background right now, we've got Forster currently in 10th place. Minot's going to win in Am with Lacine. A great drive from him, 6 places. He's going to come home 2nd in Am, 9th overall, but Minot crucially picking up that 8th place. And we'll start on pole for race 2. Wadsworth all the way down in 14th. Looks like he's going to keep hold of that position. He's going to pick up 3rd place. Well, as we see, Jensen and Parmalee having a right go right to the end here. And Jensen all over the rear end of Dan Parmalee as they come out of the bus stop. Are we going to see a lunge here into La Source? Well, Jensen makes a bit of the fake there. Here he comes. Can he get the car turned in? Can Parmalee get on the cutback? No, he can't. He elects to go right around the outside, and that is not going to help him at all in this situation. And Jensen just pips Parmalee there to the post to 17th overall and 6th in class.
Wow. We said that Spa was going to put up some fantastic action here, Tim, and we were not wrong. Battles all the way down to the line. Fantastic stuff and a fantastic victory yet again for Christensen.
Let's take you through your classified results here for race 1. So we've got Christiansen, our winner here today for RPC Esports, and making our podium lockout for the Scandinavian drivers. We've got Assad and Strom in second and third. Strom will be gutted by that one after leading for, well, so long and looking like he was on for the victory. John Sia in fourth place. Gafenchu, Burke and Kunlis takes you up to seventh. In eighth, as we mentioned, that all crucial the position that'll put him on pole for race 2. Tom Minot, your winner in Lacine. A great recovery drive from him from the back after showing in qualifying to second in ninth overall. Dominic Forster rounds out your top 10. James Parker and Scott Mokes will be disappointed by that one. 12th in the end for him. Pete Wadsworth 13th and 3rd in class with Sparlek, Silcock, Jensen, Palmer Lee taking up to 17th, and then Thomas Cope in 18th position, with Daniel Merchant not taking to the grid, and the Olympus Esports driver there rounding out your field. Wow. What race 1. We're just going to head into a quick commercial break now. We'll see you on the other side for race 2.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar World Champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Welcome back for that quick commercial break there for race 2 of the evening. Drivers just currently on a quick 5-minute warm-up between the two races. Just across to the chat on YouTube while we're in this brief period between the two races, and I see we've had Scott Mokes in there saying trying to get all of his bad luck out the way in race 1, ready for race 2, and well, I think definitely one of the more unluckier drivers out there to definitely DJ in race 1.
Yeah, and that can happen sometimes at Spa. It's just the luck of the draw sometimes when you get around. You get a little bit spun, you get a little bit offline, and so many of these corners just flow beautifully into one another. If it throws one corner off, it'll throw the rest off, and so Mokes hopefully able to gather things back up and be able to keep going here in race 2.
It's definitely going to be really interesting seeing Norway's race 2. Definitely brings the action, it brings the drama, so make sure you're all ready for that one, for what's going to be 25 minutes of thrills, spills, and action out on track as the drivers tussle for the position. We've got drivers well out of place as well as they come through the field thanks to that top 8 being inverted to form the grid for race 2. And well, I think it's definitely going to be a interesting run down to Lacoon for the first time, with lots of drivers, I'm sure, all arguing, squabbling over the same inches of tarmac.
Yeah, for sure. With that invert, obviously the RPC Esports drivers are going to be in the back of that top 8. Look for them to make some aggressive moves going up forward, but I think we're going to see some good strategy. They know they've got speed and they don't need to push too hard.
Here's your grid for race 2. Tom Minot, the AM driver, he will be on par with Kundlis joining me on the front row. Burke and French make up your second row with Josiah and Strom on the third row. Goddard and race 1 winner Christensen on the fourth row with Lacine, the AM driver, and Forster on the fifth row. Parker and Scott Mokes are on the sixth row together with Wadsworth and Sparlek on the seventh row. Then we've got Silcock, he's got Martin Jensen for company, and Parmalee and Cope with Daniel Merchant, who didn't take to the grid in race 1, and be interested to see where he's out there for race 2. The Frenchman rounding out your field here at Spa. What's going to be definitely an interesting and entertaining race 2. I can't wait for it to begin. Just waiting for the last drivers to take to the grid, and we'll be away. Here come the lights. Let's go, ready to go racing once more at Spa-Francorchamps. Who's going to come out on top? Let's find out as Marriott gets away cleanly, but Burke getting the best start of everyone on that top 3. And really now all over the back of Kundlis, but Kundlis just hanging on in there somehow. But not quite enough as Minot just covers him off there. And that's brought Burke right back into the equation. Kundlis is going to have the inside line. You can see the 3 RPC drivers there on the right-hand side of the track, the left side of your screen, as we're going to go 3 wide into Lacombe. Hold tight, everyone. Here we go. And Minot loses 3 places in one corner. He got completely and utterly mugged, but he fights back as there's someone off in the background. I think that might have been Wadsworth potentially there, as we see Minot still fighting on, and that's Strom looking to follow him through as he's got Kafenchu on the outside of him, but Kafenchu's going to have the inside line into No Name as Minot gets a bit squirrely there, and Strom looking to capitalise one way or another off either of these drivers. But, well, DJ, this is so incredibly tight, and this looks like Strom's going to pick Minot's pocket, and he's got himself ahead, and, wow, Minot's going to be devastated with that start. First, now down to 5th.
And a very brave move there from Kim Anderstrom, going too wide through Puhal. You do not see that all the time. Elbows out fully here in this race. Absolutely incredible stuff from these drivers.
Aggression level set to the max here for Strom as he looks to pick his way through the field. Already up 2 places into 4th. Thomas Cope, he's had a blinding start. He's up 7 places already into 11th. A great start from him as we see Minot just cut a little bit of a drift. It's just in the foreground there. We've got action happening all over the place as Lacine going up the inside there of Godestad. What's going to happen between those two is Lacine runs really, really wide. It comes back onto the track. That's allowed Godestad through. And Christensen as well. But just see him. Oh, he's running in a bit too deep there. Action all over the place as Minot tries to fight back against Strom. He's going to pull along side by side. And Strom, I'm not sure, has even got a slowdown there. It seems like he's just not moving as quickly as he should be right now.
I think he does have a slowdown. That's the only way to explain that, and just bleeding off that time to the best that he can. He's going to have to fall back in line here behind Minot as they go around Gavenchu in a little bit of an island unto himself here right in front of Minot. That's going to help him out, give him a little bit of breathing room. Burke up front holding about a second advantage. That should be enough. Oh, and the 144! He's got to slow down now. That's Gavenchu!
It's all happening here at Spa as you see everyone moving around down the Camel Straight. Here comes Minot looking for a move on Strom. Just decides against it, just backs out into Lacombe. And now that means that Josiah, he's going to be right all over the back of Minot where he had to just correct his line there. And that's going to really help Strom as you see Godestad in the background trying to get a move done on the inside. Can he get it done? He's forcing Josiah wide and it looks like he might just hold on, but no, here comes Josiah fighting back through No Name. He's going to have the inside line now into the next 2 corners, the double left-hander. There is Puon, and well, he's 4. They say Did they even bang doors there, DJ? As they end up 3 wide on the exit. Dracia looks like he's going to lose 2 places to both the RPC drivers, or is he? Because he's just about got the place back from Christensen, or has he? As they come still side by side. Spectacular action here, and they're still not finished with it. As Dracia just about holds on. And will he push out wide Christensen? No, he won't. The Scandinavian driver just holds on there. Oh, wow, this is spectacular stuff here, DJ.
And now look at this. Here comes Parker. James Parker coming down the inside as well. Look out for Scott Mokes. He had a little bit of an incident earlier on. He's going to try to pick the pocket here, trying to go a little bit wide, figure out what it is. Oh, my goodness. Noah's Ark through Blanchimont 2x2.
They saw Lacine there trying to get the move done as Parker looking on the attack there. Oh, there's contact! There's contact! Dracia tapped by Parker on the entry into the bus stop chicane. And that's Dracia. He's going to fall right to the back of the pack now.
Yes, he is. Oh, my goodness. Okay, let's catch our breaths here as RPC Esports, Goddardstead and Christensen running 5 and 6. Burke setting the fastest lap of the race out front right now.
He is. He's 1.7 seconds ahead of Cunliffe at the front of the field. John occupying that last podium place. Minot somehow holding on to 4th overall. That lead in AM. Next AM driver is Lacine down in 8th place. Sparlek 3rd in AM in 12th. But well, this could change once more as here comes Goddardstead into Lacombe. And that's going to get himself ahead of Minot. Those two swapping places. The battle for 4th well and truly on. And now we've got Christensen. He's in 6th. Mokes 7th. Lacine 8th. Gafenchu and Parker rounding out your top 10. See Lacine on the attack in the background. But Goddardstead, well, he just ran it a little bit too deep, maybe into Bruxelles, but he'll hold on to that one as they come out of no name. See it in the foreground, there a bit of dust being kicked up on the exit because Strom has caught right up onto the back of Cundless in almost the blink of an eye. Only 0.2 of a second separating those two in that battle for 2nd overall right now.
Yeah, and you saw just how spaced out they were going down the Kemmel Straight. That just tells me that Strom is in great control of his car as they work their way through this middle sector. Maybe has just a hair more downforce dialed into that number 192 Porsche and just able to take this middle sector with a little bit more aggression.
Well, it's definitely going to be negated as well with that if he has carrying extra wing, because he took, look, he just might have caught him in the distance there, took it right behind Cundalis and Minot and Christensen. They're incredibly close. They're going side by side on the run through Blanchimont, and that's going to be close. And Minot just about squeezed wide as they're well off the track there, but he gets the move done. Christensen up into 5th place ahead of Minot, and Minot now only has Mokes between himself and the 2nd in AM class, Lacine, who's currently in 8th. You just see him in the background there, Lacine in that blue livery car, Mokes in that bright camo-coloured car, but they've also got Gafenchu as well locked into that battle, and Minot would be desperate now to try and get back past Christensen and put some more cars between himself and Lacine.
But Lacine has different ideas. He's going to try to get past Mokes right here. They're going to go side by side up into Eau Rouge. Who's it going to be? Oh, Lacine runs wide. That's going to be a slowdown for him for sure.
Oh, that plays right into the hands of Minot as Lacine so far off the track. He needed a pass, but he's almost in a different country there. And that slowdown is going to kill him, and it's going to drag him right back into that fight that Parker and Forster are having. But right now in the foreground, it's all about Mokes and Gafenchu as they go side by side. They make contact. Lacine takes us to the gravel trap to escape all the action happening there. And Gafenchu somehow, I'm not sure how, gets away with it and carries on there and maintains that 7th place.
And Mokes all the way down into 16th, having spun there, coming through Lacombe. That is really going to hurt him. Now down through No Name goes Gavenshu. Lacine trying to go. Here is that replay.
See Mokes on the inside there, side by side, into Lacombe, and they're just, well, there's not much room there at the best of times, and then Mokes in the worst possible position, facing right up against the tyre barrier. Just a good job to recover the car quickly there and get back on his way. And as you said, DJ, now all the way down in 16th place, the bottom of Pro. It's 11th in Pro. It's definitely hurting him. Kunlis, well, him and Strom have swapped places as well. Strom up into second place. And now Kunlis and Goddard, there's a big gap. Well, say a big gap. It's 0.6 of a second between those two. And equally, Christensen, he's coming along for the fight as well. You might just see him coming around Blanchemont there in the background. As we head to a replay now, and let's take a look. This is where Strom got past Kundalis. And this is on the run up to Blanchemont. And wow, on the inside, Kim Anderstrom. We know he's going to come out on top. He is clearly the man in form here at Spa.
Yes, he is. This is one of those tracks that if you are in the groove, you can absolutely take it to the nth degree. And Anderstrom really and truly just feeling it out well. A picture-perfect pass to get by Kundalis there.
Spectacular stuff, and right now, Kundalis in under a whole world of pressure because Goddestad, he's locked in. He's locked on to the rear end of his car and he moves out from the slipstream. He's going to pick it up a distance so there from his teammate Strong, and that's going to help him all the way down the Kemmel straight. Kundalis just has to yield in the end and let the RPC driver through. And Kundalis now down to fourth, and he needs to be careful because Christensen is right behind him.
Yes, he is. That trifecta of RPC Esports drivers getting back together. Kundalis has got to be careful here. I would not be surprised if that move gets done before the end of the lap. We have seen RPC Esports be very aggressive in the early stages of this race in this middle sector, throwing moves down into Pouhon, down into Fagnes. Very, very easy to push forward for him.
Definitely is indeed. And what could Goddestad do now to close up onto the back of Strom? 1.4 seconds between them. Berg still out in the lead. The Danish driver, he's got nearly a 3-second advantage over Strom. He'll be desperate to hold on to that one. With 10, well, just coming up to 11 minutes complete here in race 2. Your order right now is Berg from Strom. Goddestad in the last podium position. Kundalis 4th, Christensen 5th, Minot still leading in AM, 6th overall, Gafenchu 7th, Lacine 2nd in AM, 8th overall, Parker and Forster rounding out your top 10. Sparlek, he is on the last podium position in AM in 12th overall right now. He's got a little bit of advantage over Jensen, who's 4th in AM. About 1.1, maybe one, yeah, not far off 1.2 seconds between those two. The battle for 12th and 3rd in class, but can Beck hold on? That gap's already come down by 2 tenths as we ran through the order, and still with, well, not even at quite a half race distance, this could be a big ask for Beck.
Yeah, it certainly could be to try to hold this out, but we've seen the pace. He was able, let's see what they get on this last lap as they come across. Only 25 thousandths of a second. That's all Strom was able to bring into the back of him, so he may be able to pull this out a little bit for Burke.
Well, won't be picking it, definitely not picking it with any slipstream down the Kemmel straight. It's all about keeping it clean and tidy through this section as well. That is Christensen past Kundalis, but Christensen runs it in too deep. And that allows Kundalis to just take that place back, or does he? As Christensen, he's surely going to have a slowdown from that, DJ.
Yeah, he certainly does, but some of these drivers, they know just where to bleed the speed off. Maybe a little bit of an extra lift here coming down through No Name and down through Pouhon. He'll have about 30 to 45 seconds to give that time back, and if he's smart about it, he can do it in a place that won't allow Kundalis to get on by.
Kundalis, well, there you go. Kundalis slots it through there into Pouhon, and here comes Minot and Christensen. Now in a whole world of pain. That one mistake for running it in too deep into Lacombe could cost him yet another place, as Minot is right onto the attack mode now as that 225 tries to find its way past the 171 of Christensen, and he's not giving this up. He's like a dog with a bone right now, Minot. But now he's going to have the slipstream on the run up to Blanchemont, on the run down to bus stop. And can Minot make this count when he needs to?
He lost a little bit of time there through Stavilo, but he'll be able to gain some of it back here through the draft. Let's see how he's able to take it down into Blanchimont. The gap's coming down from about 0.4 of a second right now. It's growing now up to about 0.5 of a second. I think Minot had to lift off a little bit there through Blanchimont, and that's going to cost him the opportunity to attack.
Now, well, Christensen, look, he's managed to close a bit up onto the back of Kundalis. But that's going to play right into his hands in trying to defend off Minot, because he's going to have the slipstream all the way through this next long section of the track. They come through La Source. What can Christensen do? Can he maintain? Well, can he even take the fight to Kundalis into Lacombe? Have another go once more. Well, we saw him run wide only on the last lap. Slow down. And he had to drop right all the way off the back of him as they bounce across the curbs there at the top of Eau Rouge and Radion. And now he is right into the slipstream, tucked up right behind him. He goes to the inside this time. Here he comes, the Scandinavian. Finally going to get the move done over Kundalis, and Christensen up into 4th.
Good move there for Christensen. A little bit of a tail waggle there coming through Lacombe, but he's able to get it together, and that means the RPC Esports drivers are in a familiar position running 2, 3, and 4.
Beck still leading. He's pulled out a bit of a gap over Straub. A gap out to nearly 2.2 seconds now at the top end of the table. Lacine still second in AM, 8th overall. Parker Forster still 9th and 10th. We're locked in on this fascinating battle here in race 2. 15 minutes to complete, 10 to go. Completed 6.5 laps here at Spa. Still everything very much left to play for. As Sparlik, he's now up onto the back of Mokes. Of course, Mokes, well, that spin cost him so dearly after making contact with Kundley. So Gavenci, wasn't it? And, well, now he's... Well, what can Sparlik do? Because he's now right up onto the back of him. However, they're not too far off Josiah. The Romanian can just see him in the foreground. So in the distance there. And round about 1.5 seconds covering these 3. And all within slipstream range.
Exactly, and that is the operative phrase here around Spa. You want to stay in that slipstream range. If you start to fall out of it, you've got to do a lot more work. Woo! As that was Mokes and Spalek going very, very wide on the exit of Blanchimont. You can see just how hard these drivers are pushing.
They are indeed, and one of the big risks, of course, around here, DJ, surely has got to be for the drivers, is just how hard they are working those tyres, and if they end up overheating them, which will cause them to have even less grip and put them into even more problems.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to be very, very careful about that overheating of the tires. Now, it's only 70 degrees Fahrenheit out on track right now, but you still run the risk of spinning those rear tires up quite a bit. We talk about it a lot. Rear engine, rear wheel drive, no traction control in these Porsche Cup cars. Getting that rear tire spin very, very easy. And while the tires may not wear necessarily, you don't have to worry about tire wear. You do have to worry about the overall temperature in that carcass. If it gets too hot, you're going to be skating around like you are on ice out here.
Something's happened to Gavencu. I'm just looking at our log right now and just see from the time he's actually dropped a couple of places. He was behind Minot. He's now behind Parker and down into 9th. So something's happened to the Romanian out on track. We'll see if we can bring you a replay of what's happened to him exactly. Just see our Burke, our leader right now. 0.9 seconds clear in that gap. Remaining quite static. Let's head into a replay here. So this is what's happened to Gavencu. Let's take a look. So it's a run down to Lacombe. And you can see he's got Lacine. Oh, he's run it in too deep there, DJ. And that means, well, as well as the lost time from heading off track, he's going to pick up that penalty where he's going to have to bleed off some time, and that's why he's lost those places.
Yeah, indeed, and that's another part about these Porsche Cup cars. No ABS. I think that was just a little bit of a brake lock up in front mistimed the braking zone ever so slightly, and that's what's put him back. So he's going to have to regather everything back under him and try to be able to fight his way back forward. The time is running out. Ooh, close little battle here. I believe that is Cope.
It is. He's got Forster just ahead of him, or has he? But now as they enter into the bus stop, nose to tail, practically these two. Cope running in out a little bit wide and trying to find a way past Forster as he heads to the outside. They almost touch doors and wing mirrors there as they come down into Le Source. Cope looking for the switchback, and he's got the run. Surely, is he going to already get the move done into Eau Rouge? Let's find out as they head down the hill. Forster just ahead by the narrowest of margins, but is he as Cope just swoops across there and takes the place from Forster. Great move from the Brit.
A fantastic move there, just forcing Forster to sort of back off. We've got a side-by-side up front here, though. This is Gavenchu and Parker. Gavenchu getting back on by.
Gavenchu into 8th place, and might not look, he's right behind him. It's the Belgium driver, Lacine, second in AM, and for the first time, might not is starting to feel a bit of pressure in this AM class. Of course, these two finished first and second in the previous race. Why not? He's won the last 2 races, so obviously race 1 here today. He ran race 2 at Barber last time out. Can he hold on to the first driver to win 3 races in a row in this championship in either of the categories? Well, he's got 5 minutes left on the clock, but that clock is ticking, and Lacine knows it, and he's going to make Minot's life as difficult as possible right now. He's going to try and make it a living nightmare with filling Minot's mirrors full of that blue 291 Porsche Cup car.
And I love that move, especially going down into Stavolo. Like, they're forcing Minot to take a little bit more of a defensive line. That's going to compromise him here on the exit of the corner. Lacine now able to just fully tuck up behind in that draft. I don't think he's going to try the move into Blanchimont, but he might. He's going to take a little bit of a wider line there, looking for maybe a little bit of a crossover as they come on through here. He's able to keep nice and close behind, going to poke his nose to what will be the outside of the bus stop.
Here they come, hard on the brakes. Who's going to be the last late break as well as Minot? He gets his nose in front. And can he now pull away from the seat? Wow, you see, just drifting on the exit there was Gavenchu in that 144 car. Him and Parker just sat back watching this battle for the lead in as they enter into Le Source. And Lacine, he's now in prime opportunity. He's tucked up right behind Minot as they head down the hill to Lacombe. To Eau Rouge, and then Radion. Who's going to come out on top? Lacine, it's your money has got to be on him as they come across the top of the hill. The car's bouncing, almost getting airborne there, but Gavenchu's going to get involved. We're going to have a 3 wide into Lacombe. Lacine heads to the inside. Minot's in the middle. Gavenchu on the outside. Hold tight, everyone. Here we go into Lacombe. And Minot loses 2 places. Lacine's ahead. And Gavenchu takes the pair of them.
Oh my goodness, shades of Schumacher and Hakkinen there going down the Kemmel Straight. Absolutely incredible stuff. And Lacine here trying to just keep onto that position as I don't think Tom Minot wants to give this away quite yet.
Wow, spectacular move there from Gavenchu, and Lacine now defending for his life. He's gone from being the aggressor now to being the defender, and Parker wanting a piece of the action. Him and Gavenchu are bored of sitting back and watching the fireworks happen between our leaders in AM right now. I want to make a way past them, but we've only got around about 2.5 minutes left on the clock here at Spa. And now Lacine just pulling away a little bit from Minot, and Minot having to try and think about catching up with Lacine, but with Parker is just moving around all in his mirrors. He's having to almost try and defend from him as well. This is a really, really tricky situation that Tom Minot finds himself in now.
Yeah, it certainly is. He is going to lose time here if he tries to defend, but if he lets that car by, he'll also lose time. It's a big catch-22. You can't win either way you do it, but Parker trying to get that move, thinking about it, going down into Blanchimont here, as I believe they should be taking the white flag here on this lap.
Right, look, that gap has closed right down while we've been watching that spectacular action. 6 tenths is all that separates Burke, our leader, from Strom in second place. And as you say, DJ, the white flag will fly here at Spa in race 2. 1 lap left to go. That is all that separates Berg from Strom and winning in category. As we look back from Berg right now, there is Strom. Expect Berg to tense a defensive stance early on. He does. He's trying to break the slipstream by moving around, weaving down the Camel Straight. And has Strom caught up enough? He hasn't. Berg gets to Lacoon first. He's now can just hold on through this next part of the circuit. But can he? As Strom makes a lunge for the inside. But Berg just about holds off from him from now and heads instantly into defense mode into Bruxelles.
Very smart defense move there. Didn't cost him too much time. Now I think Strom is going to have to wait a little bit unless he is hyper aggressive going down into Puhan. His next best opportunity will be going down into the bus stop, but we'll have to see if Burke is able to just keep his focus ahead. Any little minor error here from the 138, and that is going to be win gone.
Keep up to date with the battle for the lead in AM. Lacine is now nearly a second ahead, just over a second now, in fact, of my not. So that's looking more cemented. It's all about this battle for the win overall right now between Berg and Strom. Who will come out on top? There's Berg. Wow, you can see he's using all of the track and more, trying to make that Porsche 911 Cup car about as wide as he possibly can, as they both run wide there. They're trying to take as much momentum as they possibly can. Not many corners left to go now, about 4 as they head through Blanchimont. What's going to happen? Down into the bus stop. I'm on the edge of my seat, as I'm sure you all are. Berg, look, he's gone defensive to the inside. Strom's going to have to do it the hard way, round the outside. He's looking. He's trying to get the move done. There could be contact. There is. And Strom forces the move, and Berg goes from leading to third. And that looks like Strom will take the victory here at Spa in controversial circumstances. Wow.
There will... Go ahead there, Tim.
I was going to say, well, I think this is going to be looked at by the stewards, surely, DJ, post-race.
Yeah, I am too, and it'll be interesting to see what exactly they decide, but Strom will unofficially take the victory here.
Got us that in second, Berg in third. Christensen takes fourth. We've got Kunlis, then Gaffenchu. Lacine, winner in AM. Might not having to settle in the end for second place in category. And, well, unfortunately, unable to make it 3 wins on the bounce. First driver to do so across both our categories. And, wow. DJ, I think, can we draw a breath now? What a race that was.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, it's exactly what you expect and hope when you come to Spa. Just elbows out racing the entire way. Full action for the full 25 minutes. It's incredible. This is why this is one of the greatest racing circuits in the world.
I think races like that just prove why we come racing, and it was just absolutely spectacular from start to finish. So your unofficial results, I'm sure, will be looked at by the stewards post-race. Strom taking the victory for now. Gottestad in second. Matthias Berg after that last corner action there. He comes home third. Christensen in fourth place. Kunlis and Convention in fifth and sixth. With Lacine taking the win in AM. Tom Minot second in the end in the AM category, 8th overall. Parker and Cobra out your top 10 with Scott Noakes and Drusilla taking up to 12th place. Then it's 4 AM drivers with Smarlek taking that 3rd place in category. Only 7 tenths at the line between himself and Jensen. Got the 4th in and 14th overall. Dan Palmer-Lee 15th and Wadsworth 16th. Dominic Forster 17th. He'll be disappointed by that one off that spin. Cost him dearly. With Silcock in 18th. Obviously Marchand didn't make the start of the race. Wow. DJ, I think we need to have a bit of a chat first off to some of our drivers, and let's have a chat first off to Tom Minot, who, well, a first and a second, I'm surely you would have taken that, Tom, coming into the race, but it was so close to being, well, what would have been the second time we would have 2 wins in a row at one meeting, but also you would have been, if you'd done so, you would have been the first drivers to make it 3 wins in a row in the championship across both categories.
Yeah, I guess shame that didn't happen, but really, really happy with both results. A win in the first race for Am was great for me. I felt like I was slightly off the pace this week, and I just when I was practicing, I was really struggling with the car, so I actually dialed up some extra wing. So I was probably a little bit less slippy in a straight line than I'd like to be, but that really helped in the first race because I noticed the pro drivers ahead of me. I was able to keep with them through the sort of middle sector. The car was really stable. The tires weren't sliding, so that was really useful. Obviously, flip on its head and you get reverse grid pole, and it's a bit of a disaster. So I think the first corner of the first lap of the second race, every single person just breezed past me, and then I was a bit of a target there, and there wasn't really much I could do. But one thing that definitely went slightly wrong was the fuel calculation from the first race was okay, but I didn't really account for the fact that I wouldn't be as part of a big pack for the second race. So actually, I sputtered across the line. So the last 2 laps, I was fuel saving. I didn't really fight Lysine, and I can't remember who the other person. Thank you, because I just didn't have the fuel left to fight.
I mean, well, that does explain why, obviously you were struggling in those latter stages. I mean, obviously, just take us back. You were involved in two incredible moments in race 2. Of course, as you mentioned, the run into Lacombe on the first lap, where there was I can't think. It was
I don't know
who
I don't know who went up my inside, but obviously they had a little look. I kind of covered it off, but I left enough space. I didn't want to squeeze them. Then they kind of had a little look to my left, and then realised there's no room to my left, so they just kind of sent it. And whether they were partly on the grass or even just a tiny bit right to the edge of the track, but fair play. I sat there, and yeah, either side of the screen just got 2 cars going past. So yeah. Great driving from all those guys. I was a complete sitting duck, and I knew I would be with the straight line disadvantage. Yeah, I know a lot of the guys I noticed around at the front of the grid are getting much better starts off the line than me as well, and that was noticeable in the first race and second race. So I'm not helping myself, and I probably need to have a look at the starting procedure in this car and see if I can just squeeze a little bit more speed off. But yeah, no, really, really good. Congratulations to the scene. I know we had a qualifying ban for this race, but he obviously got a second. It was kind of frustrating to see him behind me in the first race. I think he came P9, didn't he?
Yes.
But great, well done for him. That's awesome. It shows how good he is. And then yeah, to get past me at the end and work his way through. So yeah, congrats to him.
Now, of course, the other exciting for us viewers at home. I'm sure it wasn't quite as exciting for you in the car. It was about 2 laps from the end. You got Lysine on the right-hand side of you. You got Gafenchu on the left-hand side of you as you entered into Lacombe 3 wide. What was it like being in the middle of that, the meat and that sandwich, effectively, entering into a tricky part of the circuit where it can be challenging to go too wide, let alone you guys trying to make it 3 wide in there?
I think I said this before a couple of weeks ago. The guys in this series are so good. I'm learning a lot from them, and actually just being able to trust to drive around them. I really haven't been tangled up in too much stuff so far this season. I trust them to do it, but I had to lift early. I think I lifted probably just before the 200 board because I needed to do it as well, and that obviously assisted their overtake. I also, because I was struggling with the tires, I knocked the brake bias back quite a bit, so I wasn't as good on the brakes as some of the other cars, but it was more just to help tire management because this is a track you really can't afford to heat up the tires too much because it just kills performance. So yeah, no, it was I was very vulnerable there, but it was a case of just, I guess, facilitating it in the best way possible without losing much time. But yeah, fair play to the guys that overtook me. So thank you and Lysine, because yeah, they did it great and they made it clean. So.
Worries. And before we let you go, Tom, anyone you want to give a shout out to at all?
I want to say the five-a-side team of Brackley Unathletic. They had a really good win last week. So yeah, to them.
Lovely stuff. That's Tom Minot with a first and a second here at Spa. Oh, I was going to pick up for you, Roger. Godson was just waiting, but he seems to have disappeared. DJ. Wow. Where do we start to try and unpick from those 2 races? I mean, it's a struggle for me to try and work out what my favourite moment was. I'm not sure about yourself.
I'm right there with you. I mean, this is exactly the kind of action that you come to expect when you're racing these Porsche Cup cars. You're always on edge. You are always pushing as hard as you can, and just amazing battles up and down the field. I feel like I need oxygen after that race, Tim.
Well, yeah, it was definitely fast and frantic at the quieter of times, to say the least. And Wow, what can we say? It'll definitely be a bit more of an interesting one. Of course, next time out we head to Zandvoort. Obviously not too far geographically here from here in Spa. However, offers up a very different challenge to our drivers.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's a much more twisty circuit. Now, obviously, doesn't have the new banking coming through Ari Lyondike and the third corner. So that's going to change things up a little bit, but that's going to be much more of a technical circuit. Look for it to be a little bit more like the second sector around here at Spa. I think that's a pretty good comparison, but it's going to be a lot harder to get past. You're going to have to push a lot harder and force mistakes out of the driver in front of you rather than letting them come to yourself.
Definitely, it's going to be a really, really interesting one to see. And well, coming up on the channel, we've got tomorrow night, talking of another action-packed series. I definitely want to tune in for 8 p.m. GMT. It's Apex Racing League Touring Car Series of Britain. Round 7 for Donington. I'll be back in the commentary booth for that one. It's one worth tuning into that one. Friday night, we have got the Radical Racing Challenge. It's week 10 from Alton Park for them. And then Saturday, wow, it's a big, big day of action here at Apex Racing TV. We've got the Virtual Racing Series Community Cup, which has got different series of events, MX5, GT3s and NASCAR going on throughout the day, starting at around about 12:30 GMT, heading all the way through to the evening, around about 8:30. Tuning in for that one from our brand new studios here at the channel. And then also on Saturday, we've got Formula Renault 3.5 at 9:45 GMT. They are, well, back here at Spa for that one. We've also got on the Sunday a double header for you, well, a triple header for you, in fact, with the Champion Motorsport iRacing Team Endurance Series at Phillip Island, and then SRF Weekend Warriors. That is another barnstormer. I'll be back in the commentary booth for that one. We're at Hungaroring for round 10 for that one, and then at 9:15 p.m. GMT, it's IGP Fun F3. They are at Sebring. Oh wow! From myself and DJ and Alex, it's been absolutely spectacular. Thanks for joining us, but we'll see you in a week's time as we head to Zandvoort.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar World Champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.